Being duly posted and having a quorum present, I call this Finance Committee meeting to order. If you could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Tonight we actually have someone that wishes to speak to us, so I thought maybe what we'd do is move the new business to the first item on the agenda, if there are no objections. Hearing none. Sir, if you could state your name and your address.
Good evening. Michael J. Baril, 143 West Street, Uxbridge, Mass. Basically, the reason why I'm here is I had talked to one of your board members before. I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. Anyhow, I talked to him probably about a year ago, and one of the things that I had discussed with him was does the Finance Committee get involved with financial issues of lawsuits of the town? So the reason why I'm here today is and I'd like to ask a few questions to Mr. Genereux, if that's okay. Basically, right now, and this has to do with everything in general, right now there's a total of 3 pending lawsuits that the town has in the court system that total $6.075 million. And what I was told is one of those lawsuits, the town would end up being responsible for a $1.25 million settlement because it did not go through the insurance company Maya. So upon talking to Sean, the town manager, basically instructed to me that the taxpayers of the town would basically have to come up with the money. The issue with the other 2 lawsuits, they are right now going through Maya, which is the town's general insurance provider, but I was just recently told that there's a possibility that Maya might not cover those lawsuits as well. So the issue is that means the town, if through these 3 court cases, would have to come up basically with a court judgment of $6.07 million. So I have a few questions for Mr. Genereux, if that's okay.
Well, I'm not sure how that would affect the Finance Committee. I mean, the town can be sued all the time, and lawsuits are lawsuits. It might come down to it that if we have to be responsible for paying it, it may be up to this committee to give their opinion on how the town manager or the collector plans on funding it. I don't know what else we can do. I mean, we certainly don't want to start commenting on lawsuits to the town.
Right, and I'm not looking to get into any of the lawsuits, but I mean, I was basically told that if, an example, that the judgment was ordered, that the town would have to basically cover that judgment. So I then asked the town manager, Sean, saying, well, does it go to a special town meeting? Can Mr. Genereux just write a check for the amount in accordance to the settlement of the lawsuit? And I was told by the town manager that the Finance Committee would get involved as to how to find the funding for that, as well as where would the town find that money to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So some answers after talking to several town employees would be is that the town might or possibly would have to sell some assets. And that could possibly include police cruisers, fire trucks, ambulances, and highway vehicles to come up with the $6.075 million. So that's, I guess, what is my question as a citizen is how. I know that right now the reason why I'm here is there's no planning process, because I asked the town manager, if the town loses these court cases, what planning has the Finance Committee done, Mr. Genereux done, or the town manager to have a plan to come up with the money? And basically nobody has any plan for anything. So if a court judgment says, okay, Maya's not covering this lawsuit and the town's responsible for it, how do we not know that the judge could say, well, geez, if the town can't pay for it, why not get a seizure order on some assets and seize some vehicles to basically come up with the money, which is a possibility. Okay. So one is, I don't think the committees was ever made aware that There were 3 pending lawsuits that total over $6 million. I don't even know if Mr. Generous is aware that we have lawsuits over $6 million right now.
You wanna discuss this?
The town manager is aware of it, but nobody else is.
Mr. Chair, let me just say something in very general terms.
No, that's
to
fine.
Mr. Baril's question. Generally, all lawsuits against the town are covered by Maya, our insurer, with the exception of course, the deductibles that we include within our policy. If a lawsuit or judgment occurs that is outside the insurer's capability or outside the policy limits of control, what the town can do is either can raise it from any available source, such as stabilization, or it can be raised upon the recap sheet. Now, if you raise it on the recap sheet, obviously you have to trim budgets in order to pay for that judgment. But generally, court judgments, as a rule, are usually something that is covered by our insurers. And I have not been instructed to be seeking any funds up to this particular point.
And we haven't lost the cases yet.
Well, they're all still pending, correct, yeah.
But we haven't lost yet, so,
Correct, yeah.
I mean, you could say it could be 6 million, it could be settled for less, it could be thrown out.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so, was that it, or?
Yeah, well, one of the other things too is that the town manager brought to my attention actually has to do with the Maya issue. Maya basically is having an issue on some of the lawsuits because of an issue. And the issue would be is, right now, we're currently paying, Mr. Genereux provided me public records, $280,000 roughly, I think, or was it 260, somewhere around there, $260,000 to $280,000 for the premium from Maya every year. So basically, there's a discussion right now between the town and Maya that obviously if 2 of the lawsuits that Maya is currently handling that they might bail out of, that would be $4.825 million. And so the issue is if Maya paid that money in these settlements, basically Maya, the insurance company, is out $4.8 million. So there was a question on how much the deductible for the town would increase, which right now it's between, I don't remember the exact number, 260 or 280, that the deductible could possibly increase as much as $750,000 to 2.5 million. So that would obviously negatively affect the town as well. So yes, Maya could pay the claims, but the deductible is going to go through the roof, according to Maya officials, to what I was told. So that's part of the reason why Maya is possibly thinking about backing out of those 2 claims and making the town completely responsible for...
Well, there is no backing out of an insurance claim. If you have coverage, you paid your premium, they have to pay it. If it's a coverable item, they have to pay it. The insurance company can't choose not to pay it.
Well, I was told by a town employee that there's a clause in there that says that if they basically decide to bail out because they're going to lose too much money, they reserve the right to do that. And that was a question I had from Mr. Genereux. Do you know of such a clause in there?
I'm not aware of any such clause.
Okay.
I was a licensed broker.
Right.
I have never heard that.
Okay.
Not in this type, not
Well,
this
that's the reason why I'm asking the question. I don't know
Yeah.
the answer, and I'm asking, obviously, somebody must know the answer to the question.
We carry
So.
liability insurance, obviously liability insurance, be it public official, be it school board. Usually those type of cases, if you have a case, it's for a rather large amount. I mean,
Right.
generally, you don't get sued for $10,000. You get sued for
Right,
large
obviously a
amounts.
lot more, yeah.
That's part of the cost of doing business. That's what Maya does. Maya also purchases its own reinsurance to make sure that these claims get paid. If you look at any sort of insurance increases as a result of claims paid out,
Right.
they certainly do look at that, but they do not raise it one for one. So if they pay out
Right.
$4 million here, we're not going to get a $4 million premium next year. At that
Oh,
point, there'd
okay.
be no point in having insurance.
Right, correct, yeah. Well, I remember that you had mentioned to the Board of Selectmen that a premium had already increased, was it 15,000 or 25,000?
Yeah, our premiums generally go up for workers' comp and for property liability about
Right.
Generally 15% a year because of our history.
Right, because of
You
a
have a lot of
large
claims.
amount of claims, yeah.
Our property liability will be going up even more at the fall town meeting, because
Right.
we're going to have to be insuring the new high school, for instance. That's a big asset that's going on our property sheet, so we'll be raising more funds for that, but it's not a one-on-one comparison.
Oh, okay, all right. And I think you had told me that as far as the Meyer insurance policy, I think you had told me that basically the amount of the premium that we have, that we pay, was the number 180 million, meaning that we're insured up to 180 million, I believe that you had told me?
I don't have it in front of me, I'm not 100% sure. We have a book.
Oh,
And you're
okay.
certainly welcome to come in anytime. And
Oh, okay.
I'll be
I
happy to
just
tell
remember you
that.
telling me at one point, saying we're insured up to $180 million
Well,
insurance.
that includes all our property value. I mean, every claim is different.
Right.
You know, a claim on a loss of a building, for instance, is far different than a tort liability claim.
Right, oh, it makes sense, yeah.
So, you know, when you look at the amount for liability is one figure, and it's generally, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 million. And then
Right.
you have your property list, which is replacement value of anything lost, so they're
Oh,
two
okay.
different things.
Oh, okay. All right. Have we had any issues with Maya backing out of claims, or
I've
as
never
far as
heard
you
of
know?
such a thing.
Okay,
To be honest with you.
all right, well, I apologize, maybe I was given wrong information or something, but,
All right.
so, all right. So if this issue were to come forward, I'm assuming that Mr. Genereux would know, if something happened forward that that the town did need to pay money, am I correct in the procedure that you would say, well, okay, well, this is a court judgment, or the town manager would say, we got a court judgment, and then the finance committee would be notified saying, we have this problem, we need to discuss it, and then,
As in any budget issue, if there becomes a significant expense that must be raised, whether it's
Right.
raised on the recap sheet or it's raised within the general fund budget, both the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee are consulted by myself and the town manager.
oh, okay, but is that in a public session, or is that,
Yes.
Oh,
it is in a
absolutely.
public session?
It's always public.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, all right,
Yeah, we're not allowed to do anything private.
right, no, I understand, sure, okay. All right, well, I guess that answers all my questions, so,
Good.
all right, thanks very much, appreciate your time, thank you.
Okay. Okay, minutes, July 25th. And everyone but Ray can vote on this. Do you have a motion to accept the minutes, or does anyone have any comments they'd like to make about it?
I have a motion to accept the minutes for, forgetting the date,
July 25th.
July 25th.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes as written for July 25th. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay. And the next minutes we have are August 22nd, and we all can vote on those. Any comments or concerns on the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the minutes of August 22nd as written.
Is there a second? Second. Motion was made and seconded to accept the minutes of August 22nd as written. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right.
You get my name spelled right next time?
Isn't that spelled right?
1P.
1P, okay. That's probably why you can't log in. It's probably,
That probably, because that's the issue I had, I don't know if you saw my email.
yeah, I sent it to ask them, but I think it still is, it's D-A,
It's supposed to be spelled D-A.
D-A, I think they still have a D-E. Oh.
On the website they have it right, but on the email they had it wrong, so I was
Yeah.
like trying, and I was like, why isn't this working? And then I spell your name wrong and you might be able to get in.
I spelled it the way you told me it went in.
And it's still not working.
Oh.
Alright, we'll, I'll talk to Tracy on Monday, and
Okay.
we'll get it squared away for you.
Yeah, because when I looked at the contact list, and everyone's name was there, but yours, John, was spelt wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I sent it, it said it went to a box, so, all right. Minutes.
I didn't send you a second one.
Wait, didn't, I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, if that could be fixed for mine, that would be
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah, Okay, August financials.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You should all have copies of the August financials that were sent out on the 17th. They were sent by email. I also, if anybody needs a paper copy, I'm sure there still are some down in the Finance Committee box, which I print them just in case.
Which we never check.
Al? I don't know, I gave away quite a few of them at the last meeting.
Okay, where is it? Where's the box?
If you go down to the Lower Town Hall and past the restrooms,
Okay,
head like you're heading out the handicap exit,
okay.
on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of old, like pigeonhole type.
Ah,
The bottom one on the left
I want to,
is ours.
good to know.
So, I mean, the reports are still evolving, as you can see. Obviously, our variances went up a little bit as, you know, because as we always do, we costed out just over a 12 period targeted expense. So for the target expenditure would be 16.67%, which is 100 divided by 12 times 2. What we do on the budget variance sheet is we highlight anything new that comes up. So we track all the other ones, but once they appear, we don't feel that we need to just say, hey, look, here's a new one every time. So you had some new ones here pop up, that being the town manager. They encumbered their telephone and supply budgets for the year, so they're at 17%. Treasurer hit 26%, because we do our postal mailings for the real estate tax bills twice a year. We're only funded for twice a year, so we spend a lot of it fairly early for the first mailing on the real estate and personal property. Tax title, we've spent $15,000. There's not a budget for that as of this point because we raise it on the recap in November. So that will remain until you see probably the December report. Police expenditures are up to 17%, because they did some encumbering as well. Debt service, that is always gonna be all over the board, just because we have 4 or 5 periods that we pay during the year. We're already at 17%, and quite frankly, I gotta look at that line. That line, on the debt service line, I have to take a look at that. I think that's something else.
Yeah, 'cause
Because there's no way, we don't have a debt budget of 119 grand.
Because I think in the details, it was like millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Retirement and pension, we pay that right off on July 1, so that's already gone. Same thing with workers' comp.
Can we go back to the debt service one? Again,
Sure.
I know you're gonna have to make adjustments here.
Yeah.
You're saying, because I would figure that anything we're paying as far as debt service would be very scheduled.
Oh, they are very scheduled, but
I was curious, because then I figured it'd be easy to budget, and I wouldn't know why it would fluctuate from month to month.
because the issue is what we do when we report on these variances. All we're doing is saying, okay, if you took your budget and spent it equally over 12 months,
Right.
you know, you should be within the range. The thing is, debt service is borrowed generally, like, it falls within 3 periods of the year that you have 2 set periods to pay. So what happens, so I've got a ton of debt service that's due on November 1st. We've got a lot on, and then we have a lot that's due on June 15th.
And these are in the fall.
So, yeah, and these are all scheduled, so
All right.
they're gonna debt service is gonna go all over the board, and generally, you'll find by May, it's gonna be showing at virtually 100% because we only have interest payments to do in June, so.
Yeah, I was still thinking more, like a commercial mortgage or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it's not set, because every time we do a borrowing, it's all different terms, and generally, you pay a lot of your principal upfront early in the year. So, early in the fiscal year, so you'll see a lot of hits against the debt service early on, and then the second half of the year, when our second payment is due, it's interest, so that's a lot lighter.
Okay.
I think town finances is like trying to learn a new language by complete immersion. You have to forget the English and just go with what it is, because when you start,
loans, the interest is up front.
when you start making comparisons to, business finances, the way businesses are run, it's not that way, but.
Yeah, we've actually spent 30%. We've the budget is $4,544,561. We've paid $1,388,961. So we're at 30% already.
Right. Yeah, I did know
But
that.
that's the one budget that never has a problem, because we know it going in and we budget for it.
That's what I was thinking, because that's what I was like, why is, again,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a mortgage, you know how much you're gonna pay for your mortgage.
Right.
It'll come. All right. Any other questions or concerns on the August financials? All right. Ray, you usually have a question.
No, Ron, did you have a question on the
Oh,
one-time payment for health insurance?
No, it was,
Or the, workers' comp?
No, I understand that.
Okay. All right. Going for a record, Ray. All right. Next item on the agenda was discussion of setting up meeting times. By the bylaws of the town, the finance committee has to give an opinion of every article at town meeting. So, and we have to have a public hearing on every article in town meeting.
I'm just curious, like, we have to have a separate meeting for every article, right?
No.
Every article.
No. We can hold, well, like, for instance, the charter article. We may get a lot of input on that.
Okay.
So we may wanna do that along with maybe, the first 4 articles.
Okay.
Get that out of the way. You never know. I mean, there are times when it's surprising. You think something's gonna be an easy, this is just, and the room's full. And then you have others where it's a huge item and you think people should be here, and it's like, tonight.
Yeah.
And generally what takes up a lot of the time is just hearing the people's opinions and what they want and trying to influence the board's decision, so. But actually, this town meeting warrant doesn't look bad. All right. So. David, when did you think we could have the complete and official warrant?
Well, the main problem is getting unexpended, unencumbered retained earnings, commonly known in the rest of the world as free cash,
AKA.
certified. We have that's an annual process. When we hit June 30th of every year, we close the books. We fill out all of our cash reports to the Department of Revenue, and what they'll do is they'll determine through an analysis any funds that came in excess of budget, and after they subtract out the liabilities for any appropriation deficits, special revenue fund deficits, and there's a few other tricks in the calculation, they'll give us what they call free cash. Free cash is something that can be used for any lawful purpose. It can be appropriated at town meeting. It can be left in free cash, where if you go through the rest of the fiscal year, it'll just fall to next year's free cash. What we do as a practice here, however, is at the fall annual town meeting, we take that balance, we immediately move it into stabilization, and then if any spending comes of those funds, it must be a transfer from stabilization, which has a higher threshold. Free cash can be spent by a majority vote of town meeting. However, transfers from stabilization for expenditure required a 2/3 vote. So this was a practice that was championed by the Finance Committee a few years ago, put together as part of our expenditure plan, and now going forward, this is how we do it. The only potential small fly in the ointment that you see right now is one of the items that rolls into free cash is the balance of the cable peg access fund. Our representatives are working on it at Beacon Hill, so we will not have to do that hopefully next year. But for this year, it takes the balance of that account, which is a segregated account for cable receipts that are brought in through our cable agreement with through the Board of Selectmen and Charter. It's a separate fund, but because there's a quirk in the law where it's not allowed to be maintained as a separate fund, we roll it into free cash. So what happens is, when you see the final warrant for the fall meeting, you'll see a transfer into stabilization of free cash directly after the cable article. The cable article moves whatever contribution came from that fund. That'll get moved back into the cable peg access account, and then the remaining amount will be transferred in to stabilization.
Is that a fixed amount yearly?
No, it changes every year. It depends on how much is how much closes out to the account at the end of the fiscal year. So with that in mind, we can set most of the warrant as a final version, but we are hostage to the DOR as to when we actually get free cash certified.
And you can't lose it, right?
Well, we don't lose it, but we can't do anything. We generally don't move forward with a final copy of the warrant until that's been certified. If it, in the unlikely circumstance it got certified after town meeting, we would just dismiss all those articles. But clearly, as the cable fund needs to get its money back, we generally make sure we put enough of an effort in to get it back in time for certification by the DOR and get it put on the town meeting. So, your fail-safe there is probably third week in October for that. We'd have all the other financials done before that.
Okay.
Those couple of articles are going to be the only challenges.
All right, the town meeting is the 20th. We have to have our recommendations by the 14 days prior, and it's 14 days, right, not business days?
Right.
So that means we have to have our decisions written by the 5th to be submitted on the 6th. All right, so that means we could just start our hearings the week of the 22nd. And I'm thinking, like I said, that the charter review may cause the most commotion.
Which
So,
one will cause the most commotion?
the changes to the charter?
No, that's the one you sent us, right?
That's the regular warrant, and I think I might have forgotten to send this to you. There is one the Charter Commission actually submitted, only it was the 21st. I'll forward it to you. But it's all the changes that they were recommending for the charter.
Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah, we probably don't have that. No, you don't have that, I didn't send it yet.
Well, you could certainly start the majority of these fairly early in the month if you wished.
Yeah, I mean,
If you wanted to knock off a large amount of them, and then have a meeting late in the month to finish up what remained.
so like, do the week of the 9th. All right, and which ones could we do?
The only,
Well, we gonna have any prior year bills, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay. The inter-department transfer,
I would. I would leave that one off. So I
Okay.
think you could do 4, 6, 7,
6,
8, 9, 10, actually, all of them from there, really.
all right, so 9th and the 11th. I can't do Wednesday the 10th. And that's right after Columbus Day. How do people feel about meeting on the Tuesday after Columbus Day?
The October 9th, right?
October 9th, yep.
It's fine with me.
Ooh. I have a Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Okay. Then,
Push it out into the next week.
I'm gonna be at a conference that week.
The next week's actually better for me.
Next week's better for you?
The following, I think, was that the week of the 15th, is it?
Somewhere around there,
All right, well. So that week's not good for me. So we're back to my original plan.
I guess we are.
We could do the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and you should definitely have September's financials by then too, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, but you don't think we'll have free cash by then, right?
That'll be the only wild card, but you could do, you should be able to do everything else by then.
Okay.
So that would leave off.
Let's do this. Let's, the 23rd is Tuesday, the 24th is Wednesday. Why don't we post for those 2 nights to see if we need it, and then we can always cancel a meeting if we get everything done. And we'll just run the articles in order, except for the Article 3 and Article 2.
Yep.
And 5. So right now we have, other than,
By then, you could do 5. By that date, you could do 5.
all right, so the only one would be
2 and 3.
2 and 3. So other than 2 and 3, we'll do them all on we'll start with these articles on the 23rd. And actually, 23rd, and then actually, no, the 24th we should save for the charter. All right, so we've got,
Is the charter on the warrant, Mr. Chair, or is that a separate discussion at the town meeting? What article is it if it's on there?
it hasn't been placed into the warrant yet,
Oh, okay.
but neither have the, well, at least the document I have, we haven't
The
gotten it yet,
draft.
it's the draft, it's not in there, but we did receive the signatures for the 3 citizens petitions.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I had just gotten it, and I apologize again for not forwarding it, I got something from Tracy where the charter commission had asked to put it on the warrant, so,
Okay, thank you.
and I'll forward that to you guys.
So there's gonna be 3 more articles on this? Is that right?
2 regarding the,
There was the community gardens and
Community
the
gardens.
sand wedge.
yeah, there's 2 for the community gardens though.
Yeah.
One is to
One is to organize the committee.
organize the committee, the second is to allow the funding, but
Revolving.
the revolving account. Then Sandwich Drive, and then the charter, all right? And then we'll have until, the 5th. Hopefully we'll have the free cash numbers by then, and then we can do Articles 2 and 3. All right, so we'll set up 2 meetings, 23rd and 24th.
What are those days?
October 23rd is Tuesday, and October 24th is Wednesday. We'll start off with what I sent as the draft, Articles 4 through 12 on Tuesday,
Without 5.
Exceptions of 2 and 3.
except for 2 and 3. David thought by then you'd have the numbers for 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
2
just
and 3 will be the.
2 and 3 are the
only
only ones, because they involve the unencumbered, blah, 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 free cash.
There you go.
All right, and then the Wednesday night on the 24th, we'll do the charter changes and the citizen petitions. And then, if I get it in time, and, we do get the free cash, I'll put it on the agenda, otherwise, hopefully, maybe the 30th, or the 31st, we can meet briefly just to talk about those 2 articles.
Well, we'll probably know right around by the 23rd and 24th where we stand,
Okay,
if we're gonna have, when we'll have it.
all right. Because if we don't meet that week, we're gonna have to meet Monday the 5th.
Yep.
To get the recommendations. All right. Any old business? Any more new business? Any more lawsuits you wanna talk about? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded? Second. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We are adjourned.